Welcome to the DIY McLeod channel. Today I'm going to be using my CNC and 3D printer to create an organizer for the card game Here to Slay. My kids enjoy playing Here to Slay on game night, so I thought might as well put together something using the tools I have. Step 1 in my process is to lay out the parts that will need to fit into the organizer to get a general idea of the size. I measure the footprint of the parts laid out to understand how large the end piece will need to be. Also, I measure the individual parts with my calipers for a somewhat close idea of their size. Digital calipers are an amazingly helpful tool that are not overly expensive and are really worth getting for anybody who's into CNC or 3D design. It is time to pick my material, and in this case, I am using a Lazy Susan top that I originally bought for a clock design. I wanted a rectangular finished piece, but the Lazy Susan top was inexpensive and wide enough to handle the size of the organizer. Once I started using CAD, I realized the edges would be too close to the edge of my material in my original layout. But since I measured all the individual parts, I was able to rework the design on the computer. I faced down the board 0.1 inch using a Whiteside 1-inch Spoilboard bit. I then switched to my trusty Amana 1/4 inch high-speed steel 2 Flute bit that I buy on Amazon for around $7 to $10. I use these bits most of the time now, as I find I know how they will react with wood and aluminum. I made a mistake in my design and made the 3 big card areas 0.2 inches deep instead of 0.02 inches deep. So after moving to the final job of cutting out the organizer's edges, I stopped the job on the CNC and I went back to CAD to add these little recessed triangles in the corner of the 3 big card areas. This allowed the card to be pushed into the recess, lifting the opposite corner to be pulled out. This ended up being a happy little accident that functions so well, I am sure I will incorporate the concept in future builds when helpful. And I was done, until I realized the small card stack is so tall that it was extremely unstable. CNC is considered subtractive manufacturing as you remove material from a piece. And now I wanted to add a taller card holder, so I went with additive manufacturing and 3D printing. I find the use of CNC and 3D printing together for a hobbyist to be so helpful. If you saw my golf machine video, you would have seen that I used my CNC to cut aluminum and then combined it with 3D printed parts as well. For this 3D printed part, I used a red Petg from Inland for my tall card holder and the shorter discard pile holder. In the game, the discard pile is often open to be searched, so I put a hole in the design to allow the cards to easily be pushed out from below. In the end, I spent a couple hours designing and building something for fun, and now it sits on our table ready for every game night. I'm passionate about 3D design, CNC, and 3D printing, so if you have any questions, feel free to post a comment. Consider checking out some of my other videos, and subscribing to stay in the loop, as I add videos on average around once every 2 weeks. I'll leave you with some final shots of the finished project, and if you have any ideas of how to combine CNC routing with 3D printing, feel free to leave those comments down below as well.